Hello, good afternoon. Honorable Minister, welcome to the studio. And my name is Shiv Sharma. I've been giving a show on CHLY 101.7 FM, Apna Sur Sangeet. And welcome to the studio.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm Sheila Malcolmson. I am the member of the provincial legislature for Nanaimo, and I was first elected in 2019. In 2020, Premier John Horgan made me the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions. And then in 2022, when Premier David Eby came in, he made me the Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction. It's the third largest ministry in the BC government. And I learn a lot from people in Nanaimo that informs my work in the Premier's cabinet table.
Very nice, very nice. So I have some questions, general, regarding our local community. Like you said, you are the Minister of Poverty Reduction. So here are some problems like homelessness, drug, violence, and theft. These are all connected. And what we are doing to, prevent these problems, to what it's called, to solve these things, as this is covered by your department or portfolio.
These are our challenges that we're working on across all of government. We have a housing minister, we have a public safety minister, we have a health minister, we have an education minister. So I am responsible for writing and policing, in a way, the poverty reduction strategy. When we came into government in 2017, British Columbia was the last place in the country to have a poverty reduction strategy. So we wrote one and I implement it. But it implicates every part of government. Everybody has to do their part. Education, housing, public safety. The work that I do is focused on income assistance. For example, someone with disabilities that cannot work, we give them payment every month. And I'm also responsible for employment programs, Work BC offices, 102 of them across British Columbia. People can come who have experienced barriers to getting to work. So maybe it's transportation, maybe it's language, maybe it's poverty, maybe it's mental illness. So there can be many. We really recognize as a government that people do better when they have a job. They feel more pride. They want to provide for themselves and their family. So we might give them income assistance and also give them support for getting a job, finding a job, and keeping a job. Maybe the person got a job, but they have anger management issues. And so now we as a government are saying, we will support you and give you some counseling, training, so you don't pick a fight at work and lose your job. We want you to keep the job that you worked hard to give. You are proud of it. This is a real step out of poverty.
I understand that. So what do you think, Mr.? How much percentage have gone, is up in the mainstream after this homelessness and after all these things? What's the success rate up to now?
We were doing quite well before the pandemic hit. We had brought a lot of people out of poverty. We brought a lot of people out of homelessness. And the impact of the pandemic certainly made things very difficult. The toxic drug public health emergency, very difficult, was a setback. And then now the very hard impact of global inflation and the cost of living is also a real setback. Still with that, we met our targets for poverty reduction. 165,000 fewer people are in poverty than were when we first started our plan in 2017. But just this month, we've adopted a new strategy with deeper targets and a long time plan with new modern approaches to reducing poverty that build in the impacts of inflation. So that's a really big piece of work. We have in Nanaimo opened 1,000 affordable housing units, and we have another almost 600 more to go that are in planning, and we need to do more. But when you look outside, there are so many people that still do not have homes, and so this is a real challenge. We've added more new affordable housing for Nanaimo than has ever been done in the history of BC, and yet we still have more to do because more people are coming. More people move from Vancouver. The cost of living too high in Vancouver. They move here, they can afford the rentals, but the person who's pushed out of the rental is maybe a senior citizen who then, we hear in my office, My grandmother is living in her car. That is terrible. So then we build more seniors affordable housing. We just opened a new 62 unit one. We're building another 62 unit seniors affordable housing.
Nice.
It'll be filled in a minute, and so we will build more.
Yeah.
And that is the commitment of our government. When we came in, the previous government, the BC Liberals, which turned into BC Conservative and BC United, they had canceled every affordable housing project that the NDP had on the books in 2001. Everything was canceled. Then they did their own ideas, built some affordable housing, a bit, but not enough. And the same with healthcare, firing healthcare workers, deregulating the addiction treatment system. So many things that happened at that time where they said, we're going to cut costs, but that meant cutting services. So we've been working very hard as the NDP since 2017 to build those back up. But we are very concerned that if it would be a real setback to have a different government that is cutting costs, cutting services. So we are just working as fast as we can to do more. And in the meantime, we recognize for the public, everybody's impatient. We all want to see more done and see more people in stable housing, more people with jobs, more people in addiction treatment to be able to recover and have a good life and be able to provide for their families. That's what we all want, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, more than about 15 years ago, there were not so many people like homeless. There was no any problem. Actually, those people are, from the other provinces are, what it's called, migrated to Nanaimo and mainland. So what do you think, how long it will take to return those people, or these are here forever?
This is our Canadian framework. We are one big country. We don't control the movement of people from Nova Scotia to British Columbia. It is a problem in our federated model, though, that the money does not follow those people. And British Columbia has a particular challenge because people like to move here in their retirement. They earned their money and paid their taxes in Ontario, say, and then they come here to retire, and we are challenged to find enough workers to look after them. And so Premier David Eby is pushing very hard to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to say the formula of our federation financially discredits British Columbia. It doesn't keep up. And so those Western premiers especially are pushing very much to say Ontario and Quebec really are getting more than their fair share. But that said, we still have to look after people who are here in our communities with dignity and with care. And so while we push Ottawa to be more fair to British Columbia, we build more housing for seniors. We have a new program that Health Minister Adrian Dix has implemented, cooperating with the United Way to bring seniors what we call the Better at Home program. So if senior citizen needs light housekeeping, help with groceries, mowing the lawn, cleaning the gutters of the roof, we'll give them that support. Because we want people, if they want to live independently in their homes, do that as long as possible. And then we're also building up with the nurses and the care aides, more home care support. And then also we're building in Landsville, but it will be for our whole region, a new 300-bed long-term care facility.
That's very nice.
Very modern, with palliative care and hospice care built into it also.
That's great.
Also very overdue, should have happened a long time ago under the old government, but we're going to build it. So we're, for senior citizens especially, looking to support at every stage of the life. And to do it in a way that's culturally informed and appropriate so everybody can have a dignified retirement and end of their life.
So we have a very short time, but I have one question, because those people are here. I'm talking not about the senior or other kind of people. I'm just specifically talking about the homeless people
yes,
and the people, having a drug problem, theft problem. So did we have enough budget, or we are getting some federal budget to get them, because sometimes we don't have enough money, or otherwise we people, here in Nanaimo or in British Columbia, we pay tax, right? And those people are just a kind of indirectly a burden. So I mean to say, how you can manage that?
Yeah, very fair question. So we have, yes, we're always pushing the federal government for more funding, and they have been bringing a bit for healthcare and other increases. We have most recently $1 billion budget for mental health and addictions. $500 million when I was minister, now with Minister Whiteside and Premier Eby, $1 billion. We opened, when I was minister, a new, when Christy Clark was the premier, then Riverview was closed. This is in Port Coquitlam, a very big place for people that had mental health problems. They closed it. When I was minister, we opened a new place called Redfish Healing Center, 120 beds, and it is very much designed for both mental health and addictions, really difficult problems. People stay there for maybe 9 months or more. It's completely full. So, although it's only 2 years old, 2.5 years old. So we want to build more of those, small, state-of-the-art, the best evidence of how to treat people. At the same time, we've been building hundreds of new units in Nanaimo for people that were formerly homeless. And just in the last few months, we have reached an agreement with City of Nanaimo for a program called Heart and Hearth. It'll be 268 beds that are specialized wraparound supports with lots of extra healthcare supports, so that people, when they get a roof over their head, they also have the mental health and addictions care so that they don't damage or are disruptive, so that they are evicted.
As you said, damage. I remember, these people have a mental problem and, addiction and all kind of things, and they just burn the place, and they are not supposed to smoke inside their apartment or whatever they do. And for example, they are not supposed to do, any kind of other activities, but they do all those things inside the, apartment, and it makes, So what is the educational thing or any kind of a training to just make them more fit to the society?
Yeah. So it is a real challenge. These are, in many cases...
Sorry, we have a short time.
Yeah,
so,
I know. It's so challenging. Many cases, these are people that grew up with no family. They came from the foster care system at a time that the old government had taken money out. They cut the budget of Ministry of Children and Families by 45%. So we have, when we do move people that were homeless inside, sometimes they don't know how to clean. They don't know how to wash laundry. They don't know how to cook. They just had no family to teach them these skills. So we are hiring the workers that can come alongside them to say, we want you to succeed. We want you to keep your house. These are the new rules. And I don't want to oversimplify how challenging that is, but we have many new graduates that we are seeing from VIU and from Discovery College in Nanaimo. We see them at convocation ceremonies. They want to help. They want to be new community mental health workers. You can hire me for that. Right? You'd be very good too. And you see, in our community, very complex challenges. We are working very hard to solve them with a combination. Sometimes it's involuntary admission under the Mental Health Act. Sometimes they are in jail if they've been doing crimes. But the very best is if we can find them housing where they have the supports that they can succeed, and then we connect them with the addiction treatment, with the health care, and ideally with the employment support so they can be more connected with community again. And it's a wicked problem that we have right now in all over British Columbia, all over Canada, but we're working very hard with supports and with policing when necessary, and with compassion to hope that people can have a good life. Because what we see, people on the streets, such a hard life, and who would ever choose that?
And the security to look after them,
Very much.
How can you wrap up, Minister, to whole interview? So we have a very shortage of time. So please wrap up and say final, things.
Well, I will say I'm really grateful to the people in Nanaimo who give me advice as a member of the legislature, who let me know what's working well and what is not working well. There are a lot of problems we still need to work on together. We've been building schools, building up hospitals, building $700 million just in Nanaimo into the hospital and into healthcare.
Wow.
I mean, the backlog is immense, and it's taxpayer dollars that are going into that work to make life better for people. 1,000 units of affordable housing, more to come. And I recognize that people are impatient. I'm impatient also, but we also are doing this work together. Builders, social workers, doctors, nurses, people that are working in policing and fire, they're doing very difficult work. I'm grateful to them every day, and I'm grateful to you for the conversation.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your precious time. Thanks, Minister. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.